Welcome to this deep dive. We are plunging into some incredible source material today,
Yes, excerpts from Sir Edwin Arnold's vivid translation of the song Celestial, or the Bhagavad Gita.
which is, of course, a key part of the huge Indian epic, the Mahabharata.
And the setting, well, couldn't be more dramatic, could it? We're right on the edge of this huge war.
Kurukshetra. You've got these two massive families, the Kauravas and Pandavas, lined up, ready for battle.
And right in the middle of all that chaos, our sources zoom in on one conversation.
Yeah, it's described as this profound discourse between Prince Arjuna, he's one of the main warriors,
And the Supreme Being, who's actually taken the form of Krishna. And interestingly, he's acting as Arjuna's charioteer.
which is just fascinating in itself. This setup, a warrior talking to his driver on a battlefield.
Becomes the stage for these incredibly deep philosophical, spiritual teachings. It's quite something.
Absolutely. So our mission here is to sort of cut through the density, pull out the most important nuggets of wisdom from these chapters for you, our listener.
Help make sense of the core ideas presented here.
Okay, let's unpack this opening scene. It's intense.
It really is. We start right there on the battlefield. Chapter 1. Armies are ready. You can almost hear the sounds, the shells, the trumpets, the drums.
And Prince Duryodhana is there, pointing out the big names on both sides, recognizing the warriors.
Right. And then you have Krishna and Arjuna on their chariot, right between these massive forces.
And Arjuna asks Krishna, "Take me to the middle. I need to see who I'm actually supposed to fight here."
And when Krishna does that, positions the chariot right there. Well, the full weight of it just hits Arjuna.
He sees his own family, grandsires, uncles, teachers, brothers, sons, friends.
People he knows, people he loves, on both sides of the battlefield ranged against him.
The description of his reaction is powerful. His heart melts, he starts trembling, mouth goes dry.
Hair bristles, his bow literally slips from his hand. He feels feverish, can't even stand properly.
It's a total physical and, emotional breakdown, isn't it? Triggered by seeing his kin.
Exactly. And he just says it out loud. Naught of good can spring from mutual slaughter.
He can't see any point. Victory, power, wealth. None of it seems worth this kind of bloodshed.
No victory could possibly taste sweet, bought with the blood of his own family. That's his feeling.
And he argues, quite logically from his perspective, that even if the other side is wrong, killing kinsmen is a terrible sin.
A sin that would destroy families, lead to chaos, impiety. He mentions the mixing of castes.
Sends families to hell, even harms the souls of ancestors. It's a cascade of negative consequences in his mind.
So his conclusion, right at the end of that chapter, is stark. He says he'd rather die weaponless than fight back.
And he just slumps down in the chariot, drops his weapons, completely sick at heart, the ultimate crisis.
Caught between his duty as a warrior and the absolute horror of killing his family. It's a powerful setup.
It really is. And this, of course, is where Krishna steps in, starting in chapter 2. He addresses Arjuna's despair pretty directly.
Yeah, he doesn't pull any punches. Calls it weakness, shameful, inglorious, something that blocks the path to virtue, to heaven.
Tells him to cast off this coward fit, wake up, be himself, arise.
But Arjuna's still caught. How can he possibly shoot arrows at men he reveres, like Bhishma and Drona, his own teachers?
He says living like a beggar would be better than feasting on their blood. He's in pity lost, by doubtings tossed.
Lost and confused. He explicitly asks Krishna for guidance, calls him his guide.
And this is the turning point. Krishna starts to shift the whole perspective, away from the immediate horror, towards, deeper truths.
He tells Arjuna he's grieving where no grief should be, speaking words that sound wise but lack real wisdom.
And here comes the first massive teaching nugget, the nature of the soul, the spirit.
Right. Krishna says the wise don't mourn the living or the dead. Why? Because the soul is eternal, indestructible.
Never was time, it was not, end and beginning our dreams. That's a powerful line.
It really reframes everything. This soul, this spirit. Weapons can't touch it, fire can't burn it, water can't wet it, wind can't dry it.
It's described as impenetrable, immortal, all-arriving, stable, sure. The body, that's just temporary.
Like clothes, you wear them out, you put on new ones.
Yeah.
The spirit just puts aside the garb of flesh.
So the core insight, the first big takeaway is, if your true self, the soul, is eternal and can't suffer,
then the death and suffering Arjuna fears for the bodies isn't the ultimate reality. His grief is based on a misunderstanding.
it completely undermines the basis of his despair. Okay, so after establishing that, Krishna moves on to Arjuna's role, right?
Exactly. The second major teaching emerges, dharma, duty. Specifically, Arjuna's duty as a kshatriya, a warrior.
Krishna tells him, you have to do your part. Think of your name, your role. For a warrior, nothing's better than a lawful war.
It's even presented as a potential gateway to heaven. To shirk this duty, knowing it's right but letting it go, that would be sin.
It would bring infamy, shame, and the text says that's worse than death for someone of noble blood.
The outcomes are framed simply. Killed, you win heaven. Victorious, you rule the earth.
Therefore, arise. Brace yourself. Face pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat. Face them all equally.
So minded, gird thee to the fight, for so thou shalt not sin. Fight with that mindset, and the action itself isn't sinful.
This really pivots the understanding of action. Krishna then mentions two paths, Sankhya and Yoga.
Right, reason and meditation, basically. But he quickly says, look, ultimately they're one and the same path.
Which leads us smoothly into the third really crucial teaching, especially in Chapter 3, Karma Yoga.
Yes, the principle of action, but performed without attachment to the results. This is huge.
The text is clear. You don't escape action just by avoiding it. You can't perfect yourself by just renouncing things.
And anyway, nature itself compels everyone to act. You can't just sit still indefinitely.
So the key insight of Karma Yoga isn't about not acting, it's about how you act.
Exactly. It's about dedicated action, your duty, done without craving the results, without seeking personal gain.
It's the spirit behind the action. The source contrasts the hypocrite, who outwardly controls senses but inwardly dwells on them,
With the honorable person, who uses their body for worthy work, but is free from that desire for a specific outcome.
The command is very direct. Do thine allotted task. Work is better than idleness. Life itself needs work to proceed.
And there's this idea of a task of holiness that doesn't bind you. Do your earthly duty, but do it free from desire.
Then that earthly action actually performs a heavenly purpose. Work becomes a form of sacrifice, Yajna.
Essential for maintaining the cosmic order. You know, the whole cycle of gods, rain, food. To just abstain from your part is called a lost life.
So perform your task with spirit unattached gladly. Meditate inwardly. Be satisfied, serene.
Heedless of the issue, the outcome. Follow that, and you're freed from the consequences, the karmic chain of your actions.
And there's that point about nature's qualities, Sattva and Rajas, Tamas being the real doers.
Right. The wise person understands it's the play of these qualities. It's not the little I saying, I did this.
If you discharge duties for my sake, as Krishna puts it, inwardly centered, seeking no profit,
Just content with the act itself. Then you are freed from the binding effects.
and that famous line, better to do your own duty, even badly, than another's perfectly. Die doing your duty. Other paths are dangerous.
It's a strong emphasis on fulfilling your specific role, your dharma, but with detachment.
Which leads Arjuna to ask a really fundamental question. Okay, but what makes people do bad things, even when they sort of know better?
What's that force that pushes us towards ill, seemingly against our will?
And Krishna's answer is blunt. Kama, passion, desire.
Born of darkness, he calls it. Mighty, sinful, the great enemy within.
It blinds us like smoke over a fire, mars us like rust on a mirror. It enslaves the senses, the mind, even reason.
This is the force that maddens, beguiles, makes us lose our way.
So the instruction is, govern your heart, constrain your senses, resist this powerful, false, soft sinfulness.
Use your discernment, your mind, your soul, which is highest, to fight back. Perceive the supreme, use the soul's force.
And slay these inner enemies, these fond shapes of desire.
So we've covered Arjuna's breakdown, the idea of the eternal soul, the call to duty or dharma, and this vital path of karma yoga, detached action.
And identified desire as the root of inner conflict. Now, let's broaden out, look at the nature of the divine itself and the different paths to reach it, drawing from, well, quite a few chapters now, 4 through 16.
Right. Chapter 4 kicks off with Krishna explaining the origin of these teachings. He says this yoga isn't new. He taught it ages ago.
And he's revealing it again now because the truth grew dim over time. Arjuna's confused, naturally. How could you, born recently, teach ancient sages?
And that prompts Krishna to reveal his divine nature. He's unborn, undying, the Lord of all.
But he manifests through his Maya, his divine power or magic, taking forms when righteousness declines and evil rises.
He takes visible shape, he says, to help the good, push back evil, and set virtue back on its throne.
So a key insight here. The divine isn't just static, it actively intervenes in the world, taking form when needed.
And those who understand this truth about his divine appearances aren't reborn. They come directly to him, purified by that knowledge.
He also touches on knowledge and sacrifice here. What is action? What is inaction?
The wise person, he says, sees inaction within action, and action within inaction, It's about the inner state, not just the outer movement.
Action done without seeking results, with detachment, doesn't stain the soul. It becomes a sacrifice, yajna, purified by the fire of truth, which is knowledge.
Right, all's then God in that selfless act. Various types of sacrifice are mentioned: material gifts, self-control, study, meditation.
But the sacrifice of knowledge is ranked highest. It's about the mind, the will.
And this knowledge isn't just intellectual, it's a purifier, gained through reverence, searching, listening. It dispels error, shows everything connected to Krishna.
Believing in this, mastering oneself, cleaving to truth, that's the path to peace. Doubt, again, is the enemy. Cut it with the sword of wisdom.
Chapter 5 then looks at renunciation and action together. Both paths are good, it says.
But doing works piously without just stopping activity is seen as better, more practical for most people.
The true renouncer isn't idle. They're just untouched by the pairs of opposites: pleasure, pain, gain, loss. They act but lightly, detached from the outcome.
Sankhya, knowledge enunciation, and yoga, action devotion, are seen as ultimately one path by the wise.
The holy soul, the yogi yukt, acts in the world, maybe running a kingdom, maybe raising a family, but isn't touched by the deeds. They know it's the senses playing with the sense world.
Acting with thought fixed on the divine, detached, the soul is unstained, like that beautiful image of the lotus leaf on water.
The wise person sees the same divine essence, the unity, in everyone and everything: a learned Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, an outcast. They're all one.
Because Brahma, the ultimate reality, dwells in that unity. Joys from senses. They breed grief, so the wise avoid attachment.
Mastering lust and anger while living, that's the key to being blessed, finding inner happiness and ultimately merging with Brahma, achieving nirvana.
Chapter 6 gets really practical, focusing on self-restraint and meditation. Again, doing your duty without seeking personal gain is the mark of the true yogi and renunciant.
And that key phrase, raise the self by the soul. Your soul is your best friend if you govern your lower self. It's your enemy if you don't.
The self-governed person is centered, balanced, takes pleasure and pain, heat and cold, praise and blame, all the same. That's the yogi, the yukta.
For them, a clod of earth, a stone, a piece of gold, they're all fundamentally the same. Equal grace to friends and foes alike.
And then there's that specific instruction for meditation. Find a quiet spot, be alone, control your thoughts, sit steady, focus your gaze. Interestingly, on the nose tip.
Be tranquil, fearless, meditate on Krishna, lost in thought of him. That path leads to the peace of high nirvana.
But it emphasizes moderation, too. Not extreme fasting or sleeplessness. Balance in eating, sleeping, working, recreation.
When the mind is steady, centered on the soul, untouched by outward distractions, that's yukta, the United States. Like a lamp in a windless place.
The self, contemplating the self, finds a joy beyond the senses, a peace that can't be shaken by grief. That is yoga.
It takes effort, willpower, shaking off desires, controlling the senses, step by step. If the mind wanders, gently bring it back.
The yogi sees the divine life soul everywhere, in everything and everything in that soul, sees Krishna in all, lives in him.
Arjuna voices that very real doubt. But the mind is so restless, it's like trying to chain the wind.
Krishna agrees. Yes, it's difficult. But it is possible, through consistent practice, abhyasa, and detachment, vairagya.
Yoga isn't for the uncontrolled, but it can be won by determined effort.
And there's that great reassurance, what if you try but fail? Are you just lost?
No. Krishna says emphatically no. One who strives for good is never lost. Right desire protects them.
They are reborn in a good place, maybe even a family of yogis, and continue their journey with the momentum from their past efforts.
The desire for yoga itself is powerful, taking one beyond mere rituals or scriptures. The striving yogi over lifetimes reaches the highest goal. So, be yogi is the call.
And the best yogi, the one who worships Krishna with their whole being, their inmost soul fixed on him.
Chapter 7 dives into knowing the Supreme through discernment. Krishna says knowing this utmost lore leaves nothing else to learn.
He describes his dual nature, a lower material aspect, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intellect, ego.
And a higher nature, the very life principle that sustains the universe. He's the source and the dissolution of everything.
All things hang on him like pearls on a string. He's the essence within everything, the taste in water, the light in the sun, the sacred OM in prayers.
While the modes of nature, Seswan, Rajas, Tamas, arise from him, he remains above and beyond them, unaffected.
His divine veil of shows, Maya, is hard to pierce, but those who take refuge in him pass beyond it.
The foolish, the evil, the lowest kind of people don't recognize him. But 4 kinds of virtuous people do worship him.
The distressed, the seeker of knowledge, the seeker of wealth, but who approaches piously, and the wise.
And the wise, the enlightened one, who understands the unity, is dearest to him. Eventually, such great souls, Mahatmas, realize all is Vasudev, all is God.
Those worshipping other deities still get temporary results based on the faith Krishna himself instills, but they don't reach the ultimate goal.
People bewildered by the pairs of opposites, like, dislike, etc., don't know him. But those free from sin, fixed in faith, they cleave to him.
And seeking refuge in him to escape birth and death, they come to know the whole truth about Brahma, Atman, karma, and the other aspects.
Chapter 8 clarifies these terms. Brahma is the ultimate imperishable reality. Atman is the individual soul, the self. Karma is the creative force.
Atadiputa is the perishable physical world. Atadidaiva is the cosmic spirit, Purusha. And Atayajna, the Lord of Sacrifice, present within the body.
Is Krishna himself, which is a huge statement.
Absolutely. And this leads to that critical teaching about the moment of death.
Yes, whatever state of being one remembers when leaving the body, that is the state one attains.
So, if you meditate on Krishna alone at the end, you go to him. Your final thought shapes your destination.
This makes lifelong focus crucial. Krishna tells Arjuna, "Have me then in thy heart always, and fight. Fix your mind on him, and you'll surely reach him."
Meditating on the supreme poet, the ancient ruler, smaller than the smallest, brighter than the sun, beyond darkness.
At the time of death, with unwavering mind, devotion, and yogic power, concentrating life breath between the eyebrows, that soul reaches the supreme divine spirit.
This state, aksharam, the imperishable, is reached by controlling senses, focusing the mind, uttering O, and remembering Krishna.
Attaining Krishna means no more rebirth in this world, which is called inherently a place of sorrow and impermanence.
Worlds cycle, even Brahma's vast day and night, but beyond all that is an unmanifest eternal existence that never perishes.
That's Krishna's supreme state. Reaching it means no return, and it's reached by unwavering devotion to him alone.
Chapter 9 reveals the kingly knowledge, the kingly mystery, the deepest secret, purifying, easy, inexhaustible.
Lack faith in this, and you return to the cycle of birth and death. Krishna pervades the universe in his unmanifest form.
All beings exist in him, but paradoxically, he does not exist in them in the sense of being limited by them. His being is outside, supporting all.
Like the wind moving everywhere in space, but space remains unaffected. He initiates cycles of creation and dissolution through his nature, Prakriti, but remains detached, the higher supervisor.
The foolish misunderstand him when he appears in human form, missing his supreme nature. But the Mahatmas, the great souls, worship him as the eternal source, constantly glorifying him.
Some worship through knowledge, seeing him as the one pervading the many forms.
And Krishna declares himself the essence of everything. The ritual, the prayer, the offering, the fire, the ancestor, the goal, the supporter, the witness, the refuge, the friend, the origin, dissolution, foundation, seed.
The heat and the sun, the rain, immortality and death, being Sat and none being Asat. It's an all-encompassing declaration.
Those following Vedic rituals gain heaven but return when merit runs out. Those who worship Krishna alone, thinking of nothing else, gain lasting security and union with him.
Even worship offered to other gods, if done with faith, ultimately comes to Krishna, though indirectly. But only direct devotion leads straight to him.
And that beautiful verse, offer him a leaf, a flower, a fruit, water, whatever it is. If offered with love and a pure heart, he accepts it.
The instruction. Do everything eating, sacrificing, giving, austerities as an offering to him. This frees you from the bonds of karma.
He's equal to all. None are hated, none are favored. But those who worship him with devotion dwell in him, and he in them.
And this is incredible. Even someone of wicked conduct, if they worship him with undivided devotion, must be counted righteous.
They've made the right resolve. They quickly become virtuous and attain lasting peace. His devotee, Krishna promises, never perishes.
Regardless of birth, caste, or gender, anyone taking refuge in him reaches the supreme goal. Fix your mind on him, be devoted, sacrifice, bow down, you will come to him.
Chapter X describes the heavenly perfections, his divine glories, or vibhutis. His true origin is unknown even to gods and sages. Knowing him as unborn, beginningless, Lord of worlds frees one from delusion.
All the diverse qualities found in beings, intelligence, knowledge, truth, self-control, pleasure, pain, fear, courage, nonviolence, equanimity, contentment, they all arise from him alone.
Understanding his mystic power and glory links one firmly in yoga. Knowing he's the source of everything, the wise worship him with devotion, hearts fixed, delighting in discussing him.
To those constantly devoted, he gives the understanding by which they come to him. He dwells in their hearts and destroys the darkness of ignorance with the lamp of knowledge.
Arjuna confirms, yes, you are the supreme Brahman, the ultimate abode, the eternal divine person. He asks Krishna to describe his divine manifestations, the forms through which he can be meditated upon.
Krishna agrees, listing some key glories as examples since his manifestations are infinite. He is the self-seated in the heart of all beings, the beginning, middle, end.
Among Adityas, he is Vishnu. Among lights, the sun. Among Maruts, Marichi. Among stars, the moon. Among Vedas, the Samaveda. Among senses, the mind. Sankara among Rudras. Meru among mountains.
It's a vast list, the ocean, Himalayas, the sacred fig tree, Aswatha, divine sages like Narada, celestial beings, weapons, the thunderbolt, cows, the wish-fulfilling Kamadhuk, serpents, Vasuki, Ananta, cosmic judges, Yama, time itself.
The lion among beasts, Garuda among birds, Rama among warriors, the Ganges among rivers. He is the beginning, middle, and end of creation. Wisdom among the wise, the letter A among letters.
Fame, fortune, speech, memory, intelligence, firmness, patience among feminine qualities. He is the display of cheats, the splendor of the splendid, victory, determination, the goodness of the good.
Insignificantly, among the Vrishnis, he is Vasudeva, his own name. Among the Pandavas,
He's Arjuna, a direct link. He's Vyasa among sages, the seed of all existence. Nothing moving or unmoving can exist without him.
whatever is glorious, beautiful, or powerful, understand that it springs from just a spark of his splendor. He pervades and supports the entire universe with a single fraction of himself, yet remains transcendent. Which sets the stage perfectly for Chapter 11, the vision of the universal form. Arjuna, having heard all this, now desires to see it.
Yes, he asks, if you think it possible for me to see that, O Lord, then show me your imperishable self.
Krishna grants him divine eyes because his normal eyes can't perceive this. Sanjaya, narrating to the blind king Dhritarashtra, describes the vision.
Countless mouths, countless eyes, wondrous aspects, divine ornaments, divine weapons, garlands, robes, fragrances, utterly effulgent, infinite, facing everywhere.
Like the light of 1,000 suns rising at once in the sky. The entire universe with all its divisions seen all together in the body of the god of gods.
Arjuna is overcome. Astonished, hair standing on end, he bows his head, joins his palms, sees all the gods, all beings, Brahma on his lotus seat, sages, divine serpents.
Infinite arms, bellies, mouths, eyes, no end, no middle, no beginning, blazing crowns, maces, discs, a mass of light, burning, dazzling, immeasurable, the imperishable, the supreme, the guardian of eternal dharma, the primal person.
Worlds are filled with his form. Space is filled. The worlds tremble seeing this awesome, wondrous form. Gods enter him in reverence. Sages and sihas praise him with hymns.
But then awe turns to terror. Seeing the vast form, the myriad mouths, eyes, arms, legs, the fearsome tusks, Arjuna loses his peace. His soul strength flees.
The fiery mouths look like the fires of cosmic dissolution consuming everything. And he sees the warriors from the battlefield, Dhritarashtra's sons, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all the chief warriors.
Rushing headlong into those terrifying mouths, their heads crushed between the teeth, like rivers flowing into the ocean, like moths rushing into a flame, they plunge towards destruction within the divine form.
Arjuna cries out, "Tell me who you are, fierce form. Your purpose I cannot discern."
Krishna's reply is stark. I am Time, the great destroyer of worlds, engaged here in withdrawing all people.
Even without you, he tells Arjuna, none of these warriors arrayed in the opposing armies will survive. They are already slain by time, by his will.
Therefore arise, win glory, conquer your enemies, enjoy the kingdom. You are merely the instrument, Mittamatra. Slay those already slain by me. Fight, you will conquer.
Arjuna, trembling, praises Krishna profusely, Lord of gods, refuge of the universe, greater than Brahma, infinite being. He apologizes for any past familiarity, calling him O Krishna, O Yadava, O friend, carelessly in jest or affection.
He asks forgiveness for treating the immeasurable one so casually. Father of the world, guru of gurus, most venerable. No one is equal. How could anyone be greater?
He begs for mercy, asks to see the familiar, gentle form, again the four-armed form first, then the human form as charioteer.
Krishna shows him his gentle human form again, consoling the terrified Arjuna. He explains this universal form is rarely seen, intensely desired even by gods.
It cannot be seen through Vedas, austerities, charity, or ritual alone. Only through unswerving devotion, bhakti, can he be known in this way, seen truly, and entered into.
The final instruction of the chapter. He who does work for me has me as his supreme goal, is devoted to me, free from attachment, without enmity towards any being he comes to me, open Dava.
Chapter 12 then addresses a very practical question from Arjuna. Who are the better yogis? Those who worship you in this manifest form, like Krishna, or those who worship the imperishable, the unmanifest?
Krishna's answer is nuanced. Those who fix their minds on him, the manifest form, and worship with supreme faith, he considers them most perfect in yoga.
But those who worship the imperishable, the unmanifest, the all-pervading, unthinkable, unchanging, immovable, eternal, controlling their senses, even-minded, rejoicing in the welfare of all beings, they also reach him.
However, he adds this crucial point. The difficulty for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifest is greater.
The path of the unmanifest is hard to attain for embodied beings, for people living in a physical world.
For those who dedicate all actions to him, are intent on him, meditate with single-minded yoga, fixing their minds on him.
Krishna promises, I swiftly become their savior from the ocean of mortal samsara, birth and death, because their consciousness is fixed right there.
So the advice, fix your mind on me alone. Let your intellect dwell in me, then you will live in me hereafter, no doubt.
If you can't steadily fix your mind, then seek to reach him through the yoga of practice, of Hasa Yoga, consistent effort.
If even practice is too hard, then dedicate yourself to performing actions for my sake. Even working for him leads to perfection.
And if even that is beyond you, then take refuge in him. Abandon the fruit of all actions. Be self-controlled. Give up the results.
Knowledge is better than mere practice. Meditation is better than knowledge. But renunciation of the fruit of action, karma phala taiga, is better than meditation. Why? Because peace immediately follows renunciation.
The rest of the chapter describes the qualities of the devotee who is dearest to Krishna. It's a beautiful portrait.
Hates no being, friendly, compassionate, free from I and mine, egoism, balanced in pleasure and pain, forgiving, ever content, yogi, self-controlled, firm conviction, mind and intellect dedicated to me.
One who doesn't agitate the world and isn't agitated by it, free from joy, envy, fear, anxiety, independent, pure, efficient, impartial, untroubled, renouncing all initiative in the sense of self-will.
Who neither rejoices nor hates, neither grieves nor desires, renouncing good and evil, equal to foe and friend, honor and dishonor, cold and heat, pleasure and pain, free from attachment.
Like to censure and praise, silent, controls speech, content with anything, homeless, non-attached, steady-minded, full of devotion. Those who follow this immortal dharma with faith, holding me as supreme, they are exceedingly dear.
Chapter 13 then defines the field, kshetra, and the knower of the field, kshetrajna.
The field is this body, and the one who knows it is the knower. And Krishna states, know me as the knower in all fields.
True knowledge is understanding the distinction between the field and its knower.
The field includes the great elements, earth, water, etc. Ego, intellect, the unmanifest, the 10 senses plus the mind, the 5 sense objects.
And also desire, hatred, pleasure, pain, the aggregate body-mind complex, intelligence, firmness. That's the field and its modifications.
True wisdom, jnana, is then defined by a list of qualities. Humility, unpretentiousness, non-injury, forgiveness, uprightness, service to the teacher, purity, steadfastness, self-control.
Indifference to sense objects, absence of egoism, perception of the evils of birth, death, old age, sickness, pain.
Non-attachment, non-identification with son, wife, home, etc. Constant even-mindedness in desirable and undesirable events.
Unswerving devotion to me by yoga of non-separation, resorting to solitary places, distaste for crowds.
Constant pursuit of knowledge of the self, understanding the goal of true knowledge. All this is wisdom. What is contrary is ignorance.
He then describes the object of knowledge, that which grants immortality, the beginningless, supreme Brahman, neither being nor non-being.
Everywhere are its hands and feet, eyes, heads, mouths, ears. It pervades everything, shining through senses, yet without senses, unattached, yet supporting all, beyond qualities, yet experiencing them.
Outside and inside beings, moving and unmoving, subtle, incomprehensible, far away, yet near, undivided, yet seeming divided in beings, sustainer, devourer, generator.
Light of lights, beyond darkness, knowledge, the object of knowledge, the goal of knowledge, seated in the hearts of all.
Nature, prakriti, and spirit, purusha, are both beginningless. Modifications and qualities are born of nature. Nature is the cause of effect, body and instrument senses. Spirit is the cause of the experience of pleasure and pain.
Spirit dwelling in nature experiences the qualities born of nature. Attachment to these qualities is the cause of birth in good and evil wombs. Yet within the body is the Supreme Spirit, Paramatman, witness, permitter, supporter, experiencer, the great Lord.
Knowing spirit and nature with its qualities, one is not born again, regardless of their state. Paths to see this: self-meditation, Sankhya knowledge, karma yoga, action.
Some learn by hearing from others and worshiping. They too cross beyond death. All beings arise from the union of the field and the knower.
He sees truly who sees the Supreme Lord existing equally in all beings, the imperishable within the perishing. Seeing the same Lord everywhere, one doesn't harm the self and reaches the supreme goal.
He sees truly who sees that all actions are done by nature alone, and the self is not the doer. Seeing the diversity of beings rooted in the one, spreading forth from that one attains Brahman.
This supreme self, though dwelling in the body, doesn't act and isn't tainted, being beginningless and without qualities. Like space, it's everywhere but untouched. Like the sun illuminating the world, the knower illuminates the whole field.
Those who perceive this distinction between field knower and the liberation from material nature, they go to the Supreme.
Chapter 14 dives deep into the three qualities, gunas and born of nature. Sattvan, Rajas, Tamas. They bind the immortal soul in the body.
Sattvan, goodness, purity, is illuminating, flawless. It binds by attachment to happiness and knowledge.
Rajas, passion activity, is born of craving and attachment. It binds by attachment to action and its results.
Tamas, ignorance, inertia, is born of delusion. It binds by negligence, laziness, and sleep.
Sattvan attaches to happiness, Rajas to action, Tamas veils knowledge and attaches to negligence. They compete sometimes, one dominates, suppressing the others.
When wisdom shines through all the gates of the body, no Sattvan prevails. Greed, activity, restlessness, desire, Rajas prevails. Darkness, inertia, negligence, delusion, Tamas prevails. If Sattvan prevails at death, one goes to the pure worlds of knowers of the highest. If Rajas born among those attached to action, if Tamas born in wombs of the deluded irrational.
Fruit of sattvic action is pure, Rajasic is pain, Tamasic is ignorance. From Sattvan comes knowledge, Rajas greed, Tamas negligence, delusion. Sattvic go upward, Rajasic stay middle, Tamasic go downward.
When the seer perceives no agent other than the gunas, and knows that which is higher than the gunas, they attain Krishna's being.
Arjuna asks, what are the marks of one who has transcended the gunas? How do they act? Krishna replies, they don't hate illumination, Sattvan, activity, Rajas, or delusion, Tamas, when present, nor long for them when absent. They remain like one indifferent, undisturbed by the gunas, knowing the gunas operate.
Stable, unmoved. Alike in pleasure pain, same view on lump of earth, stone, gold, equal towards pleasant than pleasant, praise, blame, equal in honor, dishonor, toward friend, foe, renouncing all undertakings, driven by ego.
One who serves Krishna with unswerving devotion transcends the gunas and becomes fit for Brahman. Krishna is the abode of Brahman, the immortal, immutable, eternal Dharma, and absolute bliss. Chapter 50 uses the metaphor of the Aswatha tree, the cosmic banyan tree, roots above, branches below. Its leaves are the Vedic hymns, knowing it knows the Vedas.
Its branches spread, nourished by gunas, sense objects are twigs, roots stretched down, binding to action in the human world. Its true form isn't perceived here.
This firmly rooted tree must be cut down by the strong acts of detachment, asanga. Then seek that goal from which there's no return, taking refuge in the primal Purusha from whom cosmic activity streams forth.
Free from pride delusion, conquered the evil of attachment, dwelling constantly in the self, desires stilled, freed from pleasure-pain dualities, the undiluted reach, that eternal goal.
Neither sun, nor moon, nor fire illumines that. Going there, they don't return. That is my supreme abode.
An eternal portion of myself becomes the living soul, jiva, in the world, drawing the senses, with mind as sixth, rooted in nature.
When the Lord acquires leaves a body, he takes these senses mind like wind carrying sense. He experiences sense objects using ear, eye, touch, taste, smell, mind.
The deluded don't see him departing, staying, or experiencing through the gunas. Those with the eye of knowledge see. Striving yogis perceive him in themselves. The undisciplined, unintelligent don't see him, even striving.
The light and sun, moon, fire know that light is mine. Permeating earth, I sustain beings. Becoming the nourishing soma, moon sap, I feed plants. Becoming the digestive fire, Vaishvanara, in bodies associated with breaths, I digest food.
I am seated in the hearts of all. From me come memory, knowledge, and their loss. I am known by all Vedas. I am the author of Vedanta and the knower of Vedas.
Two Purushas, beings in this world. The perishable, Kshora, all beings, and the imperishable, Akshara, the unchanging.
But distinct is the supreme Purusha, Purushottama, called Paramatman, the immutable Lord, who pervades and sustains the three worlds.
Because I transcend the perishable and am higher than the imperishable, I am celebrated in the world and Veda as Purushottam.
Whoever, undiluted, knows me thus as the Supreme Purusha, knows all and worships me with their whole being. This most secret doctrine, knowing it, one becomes wise and has fulfilled all duties.
Finally, chapter 6 distinguishes the divine, Daivi Sampad, and the demonic, Asuri Sampad, natures or destinies.
Signs of divine nature, born for liberation. Fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness in knowledge yoga, charity, self-control, sacrifice, study of scriptures, austerity, uprightness.
Non-injury, truth, absence of anger, renunciation, peace, non-slander, compassion, non-covetousness, gentleness, modesty, absence of fickleness.
Vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, purity, absence of malice and pride. These belong to one born with divine qualities. Signs of demonic nature, born for bondage. Ostentation, arrogance, self-conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance.
Divine destiny leads to liberation, demonic to bondage. Don't grieve, Arjuna. You are born with divine destiny.
Demonic people don't know right action or restraint, no purity, good conduct, or truth in them. They say the universe is without truth, moral basis, or God, born of mutual union, lust, nothing else.
Holding this view, these lost souls of small intellect and fierce deeds arise as enemies for the destruction of the world, filled with insatiable desires, hypocrisy, pride, arrogance, holding evil ideas through delusion. They act with impure resolves.
Obsessed with endless anxieties, ending only in death, gratification of desire, their highest aim, convinced this is all. Bound by hundreds of ties of expectation, slaves to lust and anger, they strive to amass wealth unjustly for sense enjoyment.
This I have gained today, this desire I will fulfill, this is mine, this wealth also will be mine. That enemy I have slain, others I will slay. I am Lord, enjoyer, successful, powerful, happy, rich, well-born. Who else is like me? I will sacrifice, give charity, rejoice. Thus deluded by ignorance.
Bewildered by many thoughts, entangled in delusion, addicted to sense gratification, they fall into a foul hell. Self-important, stubborn, filled with pride and intoxication of wealth, they perform sacrifices in name only, for show, disregarding rules.
Given over to egoism, power, insolence, lust, anger, these malicious people hate me in their own bodies and others. These cruel haters, worst among men, I hurl perpetually into demonic wombs in the cycle of births.
Entering demonic wombs, deluded birth after birth, they never attain me, but go down to the lowest state.
Threefold is the gate of this hell, destructive of the self, lust, anger, and greed. Therefore, one should abandon these three.
A man freed from these three gates of darkness practices what is good for himself and reaches the supreme goal.
Wow, okay. That was quite a journey through some incredibly profound and sometimes quite challenging ideas in those chapters.
It really was. We started with Arjuna's very human, very relatable crisis there on the battlefield, facing what seems like an impossible, devastating choice.
And Krishna's response was just a complete reframing, wasn't it? Moving from that immediate despair over physical loss and killing
to the eternal nature of the soul, the core of our being, and then emphasizing that true action is about fulfilling your specific duty, your dharma, but crucially, without attachment to the results.
We explored these different paths, knowledge, that detached action or karma yoga, devotion, self-restraint through meditation, all leading towards understanding and ultimately uniting with the divine.
Culminating in that, well, mind-blowing vision of the universal form, showing both the creative and destructive aspects of the Supreme.
And we learned about the forces that bind us, those qualities of nature,
Yeah.
Sattvan, Rajas, Tamas, and the negative traits, the demonic qualities like lust, anger, greed.
Contrasted sharply with the virtues, the divine qualities, that signify a path towards freedom and union with the divine.
What really stands out, I think, is how this ancient conversation set on a literal battlefield.
Provides such timeless insights into navigating our inner conflicts, understanding our place, our purpose.
Yeah, remember, the source material presents this as deeply spiritual guidance. It's meant to help individuals navigate life's challenges, not just recount a battle.
It really seemed to suggest, doesn't it, that the biggest, most important war isn't necessarily fought out there with weapons,
But the one fought inside, within our own hearts and minds, against our own ignorance, our desires, our attachments.
which kind of leaves us with this thought, maybe something for you to carry away from this deep dive. How do these core concepts, identifying with something deeper, that eternal soul perhaps, fulfilling your duties without being consumed by the outcome, and that constant inner wrestling with desire and attachment, how do those apply to the battles you face?
On your own personal battlefield, in your own life,